Good day, friends. As we approach tomorrow's announcement of the 2025, yeah, let's start over. Hold on. Good day, friends. As we approach tomorrow's announcement of the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize, it's worth reflecting on its roots, a story that underscores the prize's noble yet paradoxical intent. Big words. The award was created by Alfred Nobel, the Swedish inventor who amassed a fortune through dynamite in the late 19th century. An erroneous obituary in 1888 branded him the Merchant of Death, prompting a profound reevaluation of his legacy. Upon his death in 1896, Nobel willed the bulk of his estate, equivalent to about $250 million today, to fund annual prizes in 5 different fields, with the Peace Prize specifically honoring those who have done the most or the best work for fraternity between nations, for the abolition or reduction of standing armies, and for the holding and promotion of peace congresses. Now administered since 1901 by the Norwegian Nobel Committee, a panel of 5 former Norwegian parliamentarians appointed by the nation's legislature, the prize embodies a Scandinavian emphasis on multilateralism and enduring reconciliation. This framework, while secretive, nominations remain confidential for 50 years, has guided selections through triumphs and controversies alike.
Now, granted, there's another YouTuber out there who made this sound way better, but
on Friday, October 10th, sometime relatively early in the morning on the East Coast, we will find out who has won the Nobel Peace Prize, easy for me to say, in 2025. And I want to ask a provocative question here, which is, does Donald Trump deserve it? Does he actually deserve it? We know he wants the Nobel Peace Prize. No question about that. Sorry, I had to get my notes in order. We know he wants the Nobel Peace Prize. We know he's talked about winning the Nobel Peace Prize. You know, he thinks he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. But does he actually deserve it? And I think that's even a more relevant question after what's happened this week, where at least a phase 1 peace deal between Hamas and Israel has been announced that Donald Trump and his administration played a major role in. Now, do I think this will ensure, in Donald Trump's words, everlasting peace in the region? I'm skeptical, but he did work to get a peace agreement, which I think, does add to the argument potentially that Trump deserves a peace prize. So let me read you something that David Sanger, who is a foreign policy guru, presidential guru, wrote in the New York Times on Thursday, October 9th, about this deal and about Trump. Quoting, but if Mr. Trump can hold this deal together, if Hamas gives up its last 20 living hostages this weekend, and with them its negotiating leverage, that would be an extraordinary step toward the kind of peace plan Mr. Trump and his predecessor, Joseph Biden, had pressed to accomplish despite many diversions down dark holes. And if Mr. Trump can get Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to withdraw troops from Gaza City and give up on his plan to take control of the shattered remains of Gaza, if he can stop the carnage that killed 1,200 people in Israel and more than 60,000 Palestinians, this is the important part, he will have done what many before him tried, outmaneuvered a difficult and now isolated ally. That is David Sanger writing about Donald Trump in the New York Times on the heels of the announcement of a phase 1 peace deal between Israel and Hamas, which to me does raise the legitimate question, does Donald Trump deserve the Nobel Peace Prize / will he win it? All right, so let's go back to go forward. Let's do just a little bit of history of the Nobel Peace Prize. They've been giving out the Nobel Peace Prize since 1901. It is named after a guy named Alfred Nobel, who, by the way, invented dynamite, of all things. And his goal, in terms of who should win the Peace Prize, he said this about it, quote, it should go to, quote, who has done the most or best to advance fellowship among nations. Who has done the most or best to advance fellowship among nations? Okay. 4 past U.S. presidents have won this award since 1901. Let me do them in order. Teddy Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, Jimmy Carter, and Barack Obama. And I will note, and this goes into the broader, does he deserve this award? Barack Obama won it less than 8 months into his first term. He won it in 2009, in October 2009. And I think even Barack Obama would probably say at that point he didn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. But he is one of 4 past presidents who have won. One other fact, 5 former Norwegian lawmakers make the call on who wins the Nobel Peace Prize. And my guess is the decision was already made before this week. So while Donald Trump's work on Israel and Hamas and the phase 1 of a peace deal matters hugely, I think, in terms of the world, it may not matter in terms of who they wind up picking, but it's 5 people who pick. Okay.
Now, granted, there's another YouTuber out there who made this sound way better, but this is our take rendition, or at least with the help of Grok, and it ties into the whole story. So stick with us here. With the announcement set for October 10, which is tomorrow, in Oslo, speculation swirls around whether President Trump might join the ranks of 4 previous U.S. presidents who've received the honor. The timing, however, poses a challenge. Nominations closed on January 31st of this year. And the committee's deliberations concluded well before this week's developments, or even last night's developments, as Marco Rubio has a note to hand to President Trump. This means the phase 1 ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, announced by the White House on October 8th, and involving the release of remaining Israeli hostages believed to number around 48, with 20 alive, in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and an Israeli withdrawal to an agreed buffer zone in Gaza, arrived, unfortunately, too late to influence the decision.
My dog's playing fish out of water.
That said, the deal represents a tangible step toward de-escalation after 2 years of conflict that has claimed over 60,000 Palestinian lives and 1,200 Israeli ones since October 7, 2023. Brokered through indirect talks in Egypt with Qatari, Turkish, and U.S. mediation, led by envoys like Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, it calls for hostage releases as early as Monday, October 13, followed by aid surges and troop pullbacks. And I think there was actually a map showing, I'll show you guys that map of what that looks like.
If you want to have an idea and a visual of what's going on, this was supplied by the White House. This is essentially Israel, okay? This is Gaza. This is where the walls were breached and the attack took place. Right now, we see the IDF is at the blue line. They'll be backing up to the yellow line and eventually be out. One of the sticking points was Hamas was saying, I want them all out before we go out. That doesn't seem to have happened.
And President Trump hailed it as the first phase of our peace plan, crediting it with fostering strong, durable, and everlasting peace. And I want to talk about this brokerage, but I got some other clips I want to bring in, more discussion, more conversation, but we are going to finish reading our context here.
So the committee's criteria favor sustained global, I don't even know what this means. Committee's criteria favor sustained global cooperation.
So the criteria based on how do you win?
Okay.
How is the winner selected?
Okay, so the committee's criteria favor sustained global cooperation, and Trump's record, marked by U.S. withdrawals from the Paris Climate Accords and World Health Organization, tariff-driven diplomacy to quell conflicts like the India-Pakistan border tensions in 2019, or the American Azerbaijan, how do you say that?
Azerbaijan?
Ceasefire in 2020. And actions like the 2019 Greenland Overture or 2020 Venezuelan drone strikes may clash with their multilateral ethos. As the president remarked to Prime Minister Netanyahu in February, quote, "They will never give me a Nobel Peace Prize. I deserve it, but they will never give it to me." Recent sentiment on platforms like X echoes this divide. While some praise the deal's potential, saying, Trump draws international praise as broker, others decry it as opportunistic. Among 338 nominees this year, including Trump, Elon Musk, and Pope Francis, the front runners appear to lean towards humanitarian or institutional efforts such as UNRWA advocates or nuclear disarmament groups. If the ceasefire holds, it could bolster a bid for 2026, though.
All right, y'all, let's hit pause for a second because this matters and it's really important. We talk a lot on this channel about taking control of your life, making smart choices, and not letting the system overwhelm you. But when it comes to navigating Medicare, it can feel like you're wading through a swamp of total confusion. Plans, coverage, costs, deadlines, you name it. And that's where Chapter steps in. They're not just another company. They're the real deal when it comes to free Medicare help. Chapter's team of advisors has helped thousands of people across the country find the right Medicare plan, and they do it with one goal in mind, putting you first. No fees, no pressure, just honest guidance to make sure you're covered without breaking the bank. Big insurance companies have their own agendas, but Chapter's got your back, fighting to get you the plan that works for you. So if you're approaching Medicare age or helping a loved one figure it out, don't go it alone. Call Chapter today at 270-467-2426 and start getting the clarity you deserve. Because at the end of the day, protecting your health and your wallet, well, that's not just smart. It's living life on your terms. Well, and I think that there's a lot to be said that hasn't so far about President Trump potentially winning a Nobel Peace Prize. But one thing that just doesn't necessarily stand out in the conversation that I've seen so far today is the fact that there's no way he could have won based on the recent events as the voting basically ended in January, for which even then it would be questionable because he was president-elect. Now, depending on what happens tomorrow, the 13th, the remainder of the year and into next year, well, Nobel Peace Prize 2026 could be a completely different story. Barack Obama's receipt of the prize in October 2009, merely 231 days into his presidency. I guess it would be around the same time for Trump, right? How many days has Trump been president? Stands as one of the most debated selections in the awards history. The committee cited his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples, pointing to his June 2009 Cairo address envisioning a new beginning with the Muslim world and initiatives on nuclear non-proliferation. Yet with no major accords yet realized, it was widely viewed as an aspirational gesture, a counterpoint to the Bush administration's unilateralism.
Heaven forbid it just gives me a number. Nothing wants to give me a number.
Just ask Grok.
Grok won't let me.
Why not?
I don't know. Earlier it wasn't letting me use Grok.
Why would it not let you use Grok?
Oh, now it's up.
Obama himself expressed humility, describing it as a call to action rather than a claim, and he directed the $1.4 million purse to global health causes. Subsequent escalations, including hundreds of drone strikes in Pakistan and Yemen, and stalled progress on Israeli-Palestinian talks, fueled critiques that the honor prioritized rhetoric over results. And in hindsight, it invites comparison to today's landscape, where Obama's award celebrated intent and amid inaction, and the current Gaza framework, building on Trump's 2020 Abraham Accords, offers measurable outcomes from hostage returns to potential governance reforms under an international trusteeship. And this contrast may inform how we assess diplomatic agencies moving forward.
So Trump has been president this time for 262 days as of today.
So in less time, Barack Obama accomplished more in theory. Not really true because, again, it would have been awarded by January.
So
for his idea of possibly bringing peace.
Yeah. So he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize before he was ever really president.
Hey, look, Obama was...
Because he won in 2008.
Obama was quintessential DEI.
100%.
Like just handpicked, selected.
Yeah. Not too black. Because, same thing with Kamala, not black at all. But
and his post Now, granted, I think Chuck Schumer had mentioned Chuck Schumer's mentioned. I think I have a clip that includes Chuck Schumer.
Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are now heaping praise on President Trump for securing phase one of a peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer releasing this statement saying, quote, "The work is not over, but any step to end this nightmare is one that should be celebrated and carefully implemented and followed through on."
And even Chuck Schumer doesn't mention Trump. I get it. I understand. But for Barack Obama, a former president, to take to X of all places to post this when he's not even part of the conversation. You want to read it?
Oh, I did. Oh, for you. This is what former President Barack Obama had to say. I would like to point out before we read this that if Joe Biden was still in presidency and somehow was able to do this, his name would be splattered all through here. But anyway, it says, after 2 years of unimaginable... Or Kamala, because he would have taken credit for both of them. So he would have said, under my tutelage or something.
But there's no way she would have been able to accomplish.
God, no. Especially there. Like, no. That wouldn't even be feasible. No. So this is what Barack Obama, Mr. Obama, since they like to do that to President Trump, Mr. Obama had to say. Barry. After 2 years of unimaginable loss and suffering for Israeli families and the people of Gaza, we should all be encouraged and relieved that an end to the conflict is within sight, that those hostages still being held will be reunited with their families, and that vital aid can start reaching those inside Gaza whose lives have been shattered. More than that, though, it now falls on Israelis and Palestinians, with the support of the U.S. and the entire world community, to begin the hard task of rebuilding Gaza, and to commit to a process that, by recognizing the common humanity and basic rights of both peoples, can achieve a lasting peace.
Did I miss Trump's name in there somewhere?
Nope. Not at all.
Was there more you wanted to say?
Oh.
Or just watch your video.
I was about to say.
Okay, what's the name of your video?
Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse.
Okay, so after this, watch hers.
All right. Now, to aid your understanding amid these fast evolving events, consider these highlights from recent analysis and the broader context. All right. Number one, Trump's diplomatic ledger. So the administration attributes de-escalations in 6 to 9 hotspots, such as the Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda tensions, or the Egypt-Ethiopia-Nile disputes, to economic leverage like tariffs, alongside military actions like strikes on Iranian nuclear sites. While fact checks vary on attribution, the Gaza Accord, if ratified, could eclipse prior efforts, especially as President Biden's post-2023 negotiations faltered. On X, observers note Kushner's pivotal role, calling the team a dream team for Middle Eastern peace.
So honestly, I think we should probably do more of these videos together in discussions and conversations about things that are happening.
Because it helps me learn also.
It helps you learn. It helps me as well, because we both do our own research independently in certain ways, but then it adds to the conversation and context, which I think folks enjoy and appreciate, especially from the standpoint of
me having watermelon in my teeth while we do this. It's so scratchy.
Tariffs.
Oh yes, tariffs.
What does it say?
Economic
leverage
like tariffs.
Economic leverage like tariffs. Oh, and what funds are coming in that are going to be used to support the Women, Infant, and Children program?
From the tariffs?
And what funds are coming in that are going to actually help not just reduce the deficit, but also be able to provide a dividend in the form of a stimulus, if you want to call it that, of up to $2,000.
Oh, I know. Tariffs.
President Trump calling on the U.S. an economic power today as he floats putting $200 billion in tariff profits into America's pockets in the form of $2,000 stimulus checks.
Checks in the mail? Checks in the mail? We are looking at a big possible rebate scenario because of these tariffs. He's quite a tease. He went on to OAN and he suggested that, there could be some checks coming for everyday Americans, 1 to 2K, possibly. Let's listen to an excerpt from the interview here.
Your tariffs are going to be over $1 trillion a year, in my opinion. We're going to do something. We're looking at something where, number one, we're paying down debt because people have allowed the debt to go crazy. But you know, with growth, with the kind of growth we have now, the debt is very little, relatively speaking. You grow yourself out of that debt. It's not a question of paying it. You grow yourself out. And the numbers are so much bigger than they ever were. The numbers we have now are bigger than they ever were. So when you have $36 trillion in debt a year ago or 2 years ago, and you have a lot less revenue coming in, then you have 37 or 38. It's not 38 yet, but it will be. And the numbers are so much bigger. All of a sudden, 38, you're under levered, whereas for 36, you were highly levered. We're not highly levered anymore. Now, with that being said, we'll pay back debt, but we also might make a distribution to the people, almost like a dividend to the people of America.
How much are you thinking for that, sir?
Well, we're thinking maybe $1,000 to $2,000. Be great.
Wow. So, Democrats, good luck. I mean, he's totally stolen your playbook. He's like actually merged two different things, right? Like he's merged conservatism. Well, I mean, you could say it's a form of populism, I guess, in a way, conservatism and liberalism, because here he is saying, I'm going to give money back to the people in the form of a dividend, thanks to all the money we're suddenly earning as a country, thanks to the fact that I finally put in some tariffs to try and equalize the trade scenario. I mean, wow.
I got to show you guys that clip too. So look, I understand, and actually I saw this clip of Myron, I don't remember his name, but maybe it's Gaines or something. And he actually said the quiet part out loud. He says that there's so many channels out there that are actually leftists.
A lot of these commentators, they're actually far leftists. But what they do is they get on YouTube and they take what's called a measured approach. But the reality is these aren't their real political views. They just get in the middle to get as much AdSense as possible. And that's what Charlie does. That's what Albert Preach do. And that's what a bunch of these other reaction commentary YouTube do. They take a middle of the ground stance despite the fact that they're actually far leftists to make as much money as possible.
They are actually really leftists, but they ride the fence to get the most out of ad revenue.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So, you know, they don't want to talk about some of these things that should be talked about. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, there's good, there's bad, there's ugly, and we're going to get to that. But I think that all of this should be discussed collectively and not just kind of like pick and choose, cherry pick, ride that fence, and get to the point where people, they don't even know what side you're on, where it's clear.
Yeah.
Like I'm there's no way in hell I'm going to vote Democrat. There's no way in hell I'm going to vote Democrat. And I would be shocked if I am wrong in my idea that in 2028, folks like Stephen A. Smith vote Democrat unless there's some massive change. Because look,
how Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself, I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Because like Joe Manchin said, he's there to represent, or was there for 15 years to represent, the people of West Virginia. She's supposed to be there to represent the people of Texas. I don't know. Maybe that just sounds ignorant because it's so simple. But it ain't that damn complicated. We make it complicated. Damn, it's frustrating. It really can be.
You don't have to, completely solely back a party based on the party, but trying to hide your preference for this country in the future in exchange for perhaps maybe more advertisers wanting to advertise on your content. I don't know. I don't know if that's really serving anybody.
You said Stephen A. Smith would vote Democrat?
I would be hard pressed to think he would.
Okay, I was about to say, wait, I missed something.
Pressed to think he would.
There's no way he will.
Because you know he's a Democrat.
But the way he talks now, he is moving towards the light. Like he's understanding.
But that's the thing. I wish we existed on a platform that wasn't based on revenue.
No, that's true.
And more so based on, I know he's a Democrat.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But he's speaking sense and logic here, even against his own party.
Yeah.
For which, if we have to, we will.
Yeah.
Versus,
I think some people are too scared to have opinions.
Versus, it's super ambiguous, or they're just reading scripts that are written for them. But it's so ambiguous. It's like, I don't know what side he's on.
Now, it's interesting you say this because I was talking about Turning Point USA earlier today, and I just want to give a little Charlie Kirk quote here because this is how I fully agree and believe and run my channel. Without free speech, there is no such thing as truth. The moment you silence opposing voices, you destroy the foundation of democracy. And I believe that. I talk left and right. Like we listen to what the left has to say, you listen to what the right has to say, and then we have a conversation. But there's too many people that will cherry pick what they discuss so that they don't offend anybody, so that they don't have to put their own stamp on anything, so that they don't have to have a side.
Well, think about it. The moment you silence opposing voices, and some of these channels are allowing advertisers to silence opposing voices.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, no, we don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
Or I noticed my ad revenue went down. I got less ads placed in my videos when I talk about this versus talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I appreciate it getting paid to do this, but we need to talk about this shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to not talk about it because I feel like we're not going to get paid for it.
Yeah.
Or take that back as well, because they're still going to get paid.
Yeah.
They're still going to get paid.
Yeah.
Unless it's just completely demonetized, flagged, and taken down. But odds are we're not going that far.
I mean, I've only had 2 or 3 that happens with that. So, but we still talked about it. We just found ways to work around it.
Now, Nobel's enduring irony, the dynamite's
progenitor
endowed a peace prize, highlights the tension between innovation and its consequences, a reminder that true fraternity demands vigilance beyond breakthroughs.
No, when they say fraternity, my brain, I'm like college? No. And I'm like brotherhood, yeah. but it's not just brotherhood. It's like humanhood, right? Like that's what they mean by fraternity.
Well, yeah, like back in the day, we understood brotherhood. We knew what brotherhood meant, but now it's 2025 and you got to say brotherhood, sisterhood, and themhood.
But you got to say, but before you say brotherhood, you have to say no homo. I think that's how it goes.
I can't say that word.
Which one? U.S. laureates? Look, I know words.
For context, here's a concise overview of American presidents who have won.
Oh, okay. So good old Theodore Roosevelt, won it in 1904. For the principal condition he won for was mediated end of the Russo-Japanese War. And then assessment of merit says strong, delivered a binding treaty. Then you had Woodrow Wilson in 1919, architect of the League of Nations, right? And then assessment, they gave it like a moderate. They said visionary, though U.S. non-ratification limited impact. But he still won, so whatever. Then you had Jimmy Carter, the guy that Kamala Harris had wheeled out. I'm pretty sure he was already dead. And then somebody signed the ballot for him because he could not do it because he looked like the Crypt Keeper. Like absolutely awful.
What a disgrace.
He won it in 2002. For the contribution being the lifelong mediation in conflicts, examples being the Camp David Accords legacy, and then assessment of merit. He got exemplary, and it says decades of quiet resolve. I'm so excited to read this last one. Can I read the last one too?
Please do.
You mind? Okay. In 2009, Barack Hussein Obama, I don't know if that's actually his middle name. I just like saying it like that. Is that his middle name?
I think so.
Okay. That's just funny. Okay. Mr. Obama in 2009. This is the contribution they gave him. Early diplomatic overtures on global issues. Meaning, I need y'all to understand, meaning not shit. Overtures, early diplomatic overtures means we think he might possibly could maybe.
Let me tell you what he got. He got the prize based on concepts of a plan. Concepts of a plan.
But look, the assessment of merit says questionable. Questionable. You went from exemplary with Jimmy Carter, moderate with Woodrow Wilson, strong with Theodore Roosevelt, to questionable with Mr. Obama. And it says, honored promise over proof. Yeah.
Forward outlook: as Gaza sees potential aid inflows and withdrawals, this phase one could stabilize the region, reducing risks of broader escalation. Yet challenges remain. Hamas disarmament and Gaza's reconstruction hinge on phase two. Monitoring bodies like the UN will be key. And for investors or policymakers among you, this may signal shifts in energy markets or alliance dynamics. In closing, tomorrow's revelation will clarify the...
When you said monitoring bodies, my brain went completely different. Like they're monitoring how many people they kill. And then you kept reading. I was like, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, monitoring bodies like the UN.
Yeah,
the UN is going to be the whole monitor.
No, we're good.
In closing, tomorrow's revelation will clarify the committee's priorities, but the Gaza Accord success will speak volumes about practical peacemaking. Whether it tips the scales for future recognition or not, it underscores a timeless truth: enduring peace favors those who act decisively. Grok says, I will welcome your thoughts. Has this development altered your view of U.S. foreign policy? Stay informed, and thank you for joining this discussion.
President Trump will not win.
No, not tomorrow.
Okay.
And if he did...
He won't win in the future.
No. If he did, then the system is all rigged. It's all wrong.
I mean, the fact that Obama won lets you know that it's rigged.
Because I would have to ask, okay, well, why, if they voted by January 31, I would have to ask, okay, well, why did Trump win by January 31?
Because he wasn't in office last 4 years. But why did Obama win?
Well, yeah,
he was still in politics, though. Yeah. But if we're doing that, then they could, in theory, give it to Trump in concept. His wouldn't be questionable, though.
You're absolutely right. Early diplomatic overtures on global issues. I mean, they could offer to him for the same reason.
He ran on the tariffs. He ran on all these different things. But the downsides for him is that the people who are doing these votes probably have more of their hand in, or a left hand is in their pockets versus.
The downside for him is that a judicial ruling, a federal judge said that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents improperly arrested nearly 24 illegal immigrants at the start of President Donald Trump's second term earlier this year.
This is a big win for immigrant advocates in Chicago. The ruling finding ICE is conducting illegal arrests in violation of a consent decree that limits warrantless arrests in the Chicago area of responsibility. That includes Illinois and 5 neighboring states. Collateral arrests, or people arrested while ICE is out patrolling the city, have been a major part of Operation Midway Blitz, and now a federal judge has imposed new restrictions on agents.
Right now, a legal setback for ICE and Border Patrol agents arresting people without warrants or probable cause around here. A federal judge now legally extends limits on who federal agents can arrest. Hundreds have been arrested without warrants or probable cause in recent months, including Abel Orozco Ortega of West Suburban Lyons, taken off the street by ICE only after they found him, then generated a warrant. A consent decree to limit ICE's ability to do that will remain in effect until at least next year. Attorneys for the National Immigration Justice Center say ICE officials thought they were no longer bound by limited arresting powers. For families of those taken into custody, it's a win in a fight they are still waging as loved ones remain behind bars.
It's a glimpse of hope that the courts will still at times bear witness and will attempt to limit the harms being conducted by DHS in our communities. I've had to remind myself that on this earth, love and compassion still exist. Somewhere in the neighborhoods, we have built lives, and there remains people who will continue to fight for the communities and quality of life we all know we deserve.
So President Trump says, look, he should win, but he never will. He should win, but they'll never give it to him. And they're continuously building up a case to counter the reasoning why he would or should receive said prize. Now, I've got a clip here of an accident, a mistake, okay? And a woman catches 2 sheriffs and a locksmith or a landlord trying to evict her from her home.
Yeah.
Only to realize they were at the wrong house.
Mm-hmm. On Ring camera.
It was an honest mistake.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Candle Lake's woman is praising her Ring doorbell system tonight. This is why. Take a look. She was able to stop her very own eviction in the process. That's why those people were there. That woman tells ABC Action News reporter J.J. Burton, it turns out all of this was a big mistake. One she says would not have been caught if she did not have her Ring doorbell.
Hello? And that's the voice of Jennifer Michelle through her Ring doorbell camera. The three people you see at her door, 2 deputies and a locksmith. Jennifer wasn't home at the time. She was on her way to lunch with her mother and daughter. Her husband was at work. She asked the men what they were doing, and they replied,
we're here to finalize the eviction.
And you can hear Jennifer get a bit worked up because she has no idea what they're talking about. What eviction?
It was posted a week ago. It was posted last week.
At my house?
Yes, ma'am.
You can see one of the deputies then walk to the front of the house to check something out. The other deputy then asks for her name, which she gives them.
I told my mom, I'm going to my house. I'm going to go check it out.
She's still on the Ring camera with the deputies.
You can tell that they messed up.
This was after they already drilled her lock, locking her out of the house. Jennifer gets more upset.
I am caught up on my bills. Nobody has served me an eviction notice.
And you can hear the men in the background looking at the house number and agreeing they're at the wrong place.
Yeah, I think it's 4-3.
What the is going on?
Jennifer made it home in time before they left, and she was relieved that they figured it all out before it was too late.
We do apologize. We have the wrong house.
And they also brought her lunch, and she wants to make it clear that she's no longer upset, but she hopes that they don't make this mistake again.
I mean, this is a huge mistake to make. I would think that the rental company and the police officer would compare notes to make sure that they are at the right house.
And she's thankful to her husband for making them get the Ring camera.
I thank God for that.
J.J. Burton, ABC Action News.
24 hang on. Let me make sure I say this correctly. 24 illegal immigrants were, according to this judge's ruling, improperly arrested.
How do you improperly arrest somebody who has broken the law and shouldn't be here?
You know, it's just like...
Attorneys with the National Immigrant Justice Center in Chicago say the number of warrantless arrests in just the past 2 weeks have skyrocketed. Their case against ICE, starting with 26 people, now up to at least 200.
What we have seen now on a much larger scale is federal agents indiscriminately stopping and arresting individuals without warrants.
A family scooped up at the Bean late last month. Collateral warrantless arrest during a raid at a home in Elgin, with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem present, posting this video on social media.
He actually had his work permit to be working here legally.
Alliance father Abel Orozco picked up earlier this year. ICE reports reviewed by the I-team confirming agents did not have a warrant, instead creating one after taking him into custody.
My father was the main breadwinner of the family, so having him gone, it's hard.
All examples of what U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Cummings ruled is an ongoing pattern of ICE violating the terms of a consent decree. NIJC attorneys successfully arguing agents produced no warrants, civil or criminal, for the arrests. Cummings taking particular issue with instructions to ICE agents to carry blank I-200 forms, civil immigration warrants, on their person in the field to fill them out on the spot, calling ICE's arguments it can do so lawfully meritless.
If they made a warrantless arrest, they need to justify and document the specific information.
Under the federal consent decree with ICE, to arrest someone with or without a warrant, ICE agents are required to meet 2 criteria. Is there probable cause to believe someone is in the U.S. illegally, and are they also a flight risk? ABC 7 chief legal analyst Gil Sofer says the government is likely to appeal the ruling.
Well, we'll see if it changes operations on the ground. He's certainly sending a shot across the bow, and that, if it's going to be abided by, that's going to slow things down and really impose rigor around the process.
Immigrant advocates intensely emotional over the result.
To our Black and brown people and immigrants, it does not always seem to be that this earth wants us, but we want us, and that can be enough.
Now, the Department of Homeland Security said in a statement to the I-team, quote, DHS complies with all lawful court orders and is addressing this matter with the court. NIJC says it will seek the release of hundreds of people they claim were unlawfully arrested.
All right.
A lot to come out of that.
just sticking with exactly what the law says here.
Absolutely, and we'll see what comes from DHS and how they handle this in court.
We now have potentially 200 on our list of potential violations, the vast majority of them being in the last couple weeks.
The National Immigration Justice Center says separate litigation is underway for those taken into custody at that South Shore apartment building last week.
I was watching something. It might have been, it was in regard to, I think it was Officer Tatum, and he was talking to Dave Rubin and basically saying, or maybe it's somebody else, but police officers should not have to abide by different rules because they're police officers. And basically, if you as a civilian are attacked by another civilian, you have the right to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that right includes the use of deadly force depending on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, police officers do not. So they're supposed to accept rocks being thrown at them and being shot at, trying to be run over with a vehicle as they're doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow they are no longer human beings that have the right to protect themselves with the use of deadly force because they're in uniform with a badge. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so how can they illegally or improperly arrest? Well, there you have it. There you have it, because the rules are not balanced. They're not fair at all. But they were illegal immigrants. They were illegal. But the point I'm trying to make is it's 24. It's 24. I mean, if we want to calculate a reasonable, acceptable margin of error, 24.
I feel like that's pretty good. Yeah.
Come on. And who knows? This may be overturned. This judge's ruling could be wrong. But at the end of the day, they're building up a case of all the reasons why President Trump will not win a Nobel Prize.
Now, let me ask you, because when you pulled this up and you said, talk about the Nobel Peace Prize, I said, oh, Gavin Newsom. And you said, did you not see where Gavin Newsom posted himself on X?
This is why I say we should do this more often, because this is news to me.
Okay, so.
And usually she sends me something, I'm like, seen it.
Can I type in here?
Yeah, seen it, heard it.
Yeah, so Gavin Newsom himself posted where he won the Nobel Peace Prize and Trump was pissed about it. Let's see.
Did Gavin Newsom win the Nobel Peace Prize?
No. But he posted it.
Wait. Isn't it illegal to post fake AI memes in California?
So many good questions here. Which one is the correct Gavin Newsom? How do you spell his last name? No E? No. There we go. That's why. I think he did. I don't know if he posted up as himself or as governor. I think maybe as governor. Hold on. Where is it? He posted it. Wow. And it says, Trump explodes with rage after Gavin Newsom wins Nobel Peace Prize. And Gavin Newsom himself reposted it.
Gavin Newsom is
lying.
Oh, so he's reposting fake news.
Yes, but he's not calling out the fact that it's fake. He's not saying anything like that. He is posting it like it's real. And the morons that follow Gavin Newsom and like Gavin Newsom are going to read this and immediately go, oh my gosh, Trump TDS kicks in hardcore.
The Browit is known for satire and lies and fake news. You would have to assume that people knew that maybe. But this is exactly proving the point of how the left does not know how to meme. They don't know how to meme.
No.
Like their memes are terrible. They're not even
But
funny.
it also proves why you have to take every single thing with a grain of salt and do your own damn research. Because when you have the governor of California reposting lies to try to confuse the crap out of people,
This isn't to confuse. This is to try to get under the skin of President Trump with a joke that is not even funny.
Not at all.
He didn't win.
No.
The award hasn't been made yet.
No.
It's not until tomorrow.
Correct.
He's probably not even in the running at all.
Why would he be? Nothing about him screams, give me Nobel Peace Prize.
It's just not even, it's not believable. It's not reasonable. It's not funny. And it's got Gavin Newsom all over it.
Yeah.
All over it. So here's my take.
Also, House Speaker Mike Johnson out with this, posting in part, "This is a truly historic achievement, one that only President Trump could have delivered."
Here's my take. And like I said, we should talk about everything. 2026, President Trump has a chance to win the Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay, I agree.
Depending on what happens in the Middle East.
I wonder why they didn't mention Ukraine and Russia. When they were talking about the things he's done or working on, they didn't mention Ukraine, Russia.
Yeah, well, John Fetterman mentions that.
Mm-hmm.
John Fetterman.
Even Fetterman reposted.
A proponent in favor of Trump winning the Nobel Peace Prize, assuming, again, everything goes according to plan.
Yeah.
And then there's Democratic Senator John Fetterman posting this, quote, I congratulate POTUS on this historic peace plan that releases all the hostages. Now enduring peace in the region is possible. Our parties are different, but we have a shared ironclad commitment to Israel and its people. The Pennsylvania Democrat now joins us live on the program. Good to have you on the show today, Senator. Good to see you. What a momentous day this is for, I think, not just the president and the administration, but for both parties. I remember when you first began to get a lot of criticism from Democrats in your own party about your support for Israel and your support for President Trump's efforts to try to bring peace into that region. Are you surprised by this reaction today? And isn't this a win for everyone?
Well, I know I've taken a lot of criticism because I've been very committed to Israel from the door of this. I don't really understand that. I think our party should have been firmly behind Israel through this, but I'm going to follow Israel through it. And President Trump has a very strong commitment to Israel, and that's why I celebrate and support most of the things that they've done, including the Iranian nuclear sites. I believe I might have been the only Democrat that supported them through it. So now today, I think it's entirely appropriate to celebrate this. Thank God this terrible war is going to end, and these poor souls kept underground for over 2 years can come back home. So I don't understand why anyone's reaction would be other than that.
You know, Bill brought this up earlier in the program. There's a lot to come in the next 3 or 4 days, and one little thing going wrong can, upend all of this. And we've seen that in the past historically with this region. How do you feel about where we are in this moment right now? I know it's a joyous moment and we're all celebrating, but do you have a little bit of pause too?
No, I mean, I think it's incredibly comprehensive kind of a plan. And you also see now you have Hamas fully saying they're committed to this. And of course, Israel is now too. But what's also very important too, all of the Arab nations around, whether it's Egypt and Turkey and Qatar as well, have really pushed Hamas saying this is going to be the best deal you're ever going to get. And this awful war needs to end. So I'm actually optimistic that we have a chance for enduring peace. Another part of it is what Israel has accomplished through this entire war. They have destroyed Hamas, they have destroyed Hezbollah, and also they stopped Iran for acquiring a nuclear weapon, and I fully supported that. Now Syria now is free. Now think what's accomplished here, so that's why we could have true peace in the region now.
Do you think the president deserves a Nobel Peace Prize?
Well, I mean, if this sticks, I think the whole point of having a Nobel Peace Prize is for ending wars and promoting peace. And I'm going to make a direct appeal to the president. I hope he chooses to provide the tomahawks to the Ukrainians too, and give them the tools that they need to push back against Russia. And if he brings the Ukrainian war to its end, I'll be the Democrat leading the committee for his Nobel Prize Peace for ending both of these terrible wars.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Senator Fetterman, thank you again for joining us on this very historic day.
In Gaza, Middle East, Israel, and Ukraine, Russia. But
Fetterman reposted President Trump's Truth Social post about everything about the I don't know, treaty is not the right word, but the
negotiation.
The negotiation. Fetterman reposted President Trump's, whereas most Democrats would never, as you saw from Barack Obama and Schumer and everybody else who will say something about it but give no credit to the man. You have Fetterman out there reposting him.
See, that's the problem with most Democrats are Trump haters. Okay. And most Republicans are for the people, really.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it really should open people's eyes to who the Democrats, these leftists really are, because it's like, it's just like y'all, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so bad.
I feel like Fetterman is what Democrats used to be before they turned into the Chuck Schumers of everything. Fetterman seems like he listens to both sides and makes the correct decision based off of what's best for the people.
Democrat used to be 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Everyone else has moved so far left, it's ridiculous. Fetterman could become an independent. He could become a Republican. And this could happen. He could lead the charge for the Democratic Party and reform the whole thing. Maybe. Who knows? But I feel like Trump could win the Nobel Peace Prize come 2026, assuming everything goes according to plan. Peace around the world. Okay? And I have to say it. He survives.
That part.
I have to say it. He survives.
Because he goes against the Democrat grain.
He's alive and well to accept it. You know, I have to say that. I have to say that. But if all those things happened and he doesn't win, for instance, I'm assuming these occur before January 31, 2026. If they all happen and he doesn't win, who cares?
Honestly.
Who cares? He doesn't care.
Yeah.
And he didn't care when he said that he should win and he'll never get it. But at the end of the day, people should know. They should realize, they should recognize, and they should give him credit.
I agree.